Hello, Uganda. Good evening and welcome to the show On the Spot. My name is Patrick Kamara. My guest tonight is the Speaker of Uganda's Parliament, the Right Honourable Rebecca Kadaga. And tonight we'll be talking about the attendance of members of Parliament and when they attend, the level of debate, but also the numbers that keep increasing in Parliament. And perhaps we shall also look into the fiscal discipline. The Right Honourable Rebecca Kadaga, welcome to the show. You're on the spot tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let me begin by looking into, surprisingly, the legacy, because you have been in Parliament, you know, serving for almost now, for quite some time. You have also tried to, you've been Deputy Speaker, you have been Speaker, and many people would say Uganda's supreme law of the land has been mutilated beyond recognition during your time, and that could dent your image and your legacy.
No, but I'm not the mover of the proposals. I'm just an arbitrator. And I don't know whether you want to say that a constitution should never be amended. No? No. And no. I don't think your assessment is right.
So when people look back, the year 2017, 2016, and look at some of the things they had put in the constitution, maybe they thought these were like the safeguards of Uganda, and they removed when you're Speaker. Don't you think at one point they'll look at that the time when Right Honourable Rebecca Kadaga was Speaker, APC was done, and that could perhaps in a way taint your image?
No, Speaker? I think they should look at the Parliament that did it, not the Speaker. The Speaker is not alone. The Speaker has a Parliament. And the decisions are made in the Parliament by the parliamentarians. Yes.
Yeah, but that's the Parliament that made the decision is a Parliament that is under your stewardship.
Why don't you ask the mover of the amendments? You should address the person who brings them. That's the person you should deal with. That's the person you should deal with.
Your deputy, the Honourable Jacob Olanya, at one point was on record and spoke with a lot of clarity that the House, the level of debate in that House is low. Or, you know, do you agree with him?
I don't think I want to say what he said or what he did not say. I wasn't there when he said it. I don't want to
Right, Honourable Speaker, I'm asking that question because when you are away, he chairs the debates, and most times you do. So you also have your own assessment, Right Honourable Speaker, about the level of debate in the House. What
is the level of debate? What exactly do you want to?
He says, well, you didn't want to say. You didn't
what do you understand the level of debate?
He says they do not do the research. The level is not the debate is not so deep, and so also the time is little given to them.
Well, if you have 450 members of Parliament and 5 hours of sitting, how much time can you give everybody? In 3 minutes, you have to say what you can.
So should we say that because of time and because of the numbers, so the number and the time accorded is affecting the level of debate?
But if you are prepared, you can say what you have to say in 3 minutes.
So there's a lack of preparation, clearly, to some of them.
It depends. You know, first of all, there is no school where you learn to be an MP. You learn to be an MP here, in the House. Different bills, different issues may require different expertise. So you can't be knowledgeable in everything. But I think by and by they do a good job.
At one point, I realized when you are maybe giving them the order paper, maybe it comes on that very day, are they given enough time to understand what is going to be debated so that maybe they can add value, they can research so that when you go to the plenary, somebody is prepared, even if they are given 3 minutes, then those 3 minutes can be of value because they have already been given ample time to know what is coming.
You know, the beauty about the order paper is that the items move in sequence. So you can know in a month what is going to happen because it is all there. So when we finish one, we move others up. If you are focused, you know what is happening. And in any case, they are given the order paper at least 24 hours in advance. They have iPads, they can do research. And if you're interested in the subject, you prepare. We have research teams at Parliament. Yes.
You have said at one point that the attendance of members of Parliament is not adequate. And one time you actually threatened to take action, that sometimes they actually do not appear for plenary. Have you taken any action, or what are you planning?
No, by the way, the attendance has improved. It has. If you see the sitting, you'll see that they're there. You see that they're there. There are those who may be out of the country, those who may be sick, committees which are probably going on, but they're attending. And I think if you watch the screen, you see them there.
Yeah, there have been times, Right Honourable Speaker, when you actually see that the chamber is largely empty, and yet some...
Have you watched the House of Commons?
Yes.
How many people sitting during the proceedings? They come for Prime Minister's question time, and now Brexit. If you watch, there are probably 6 or 7 members, and they're doing work. So no. It's not anything unusual.
Right Honourable Speaker, I'm asking that because it was a concern to you at one point. Yeah, that's why I was asking. The poor attendance was a concern that you raised.
So I'm telling you that the attendance has improved. That's what I'm telling you. Yes.
So we have committees of Parliament probing different areas, but sometimes after you have made recommendation and the probe is done, you know, the recommendations don't follow through. What would you do to ensure that the work that is done by a committee probing a certain issue and they have come out with recommendations, maybe the executive, whoever is responsible, should put in place what is recommended?
Well, I think you should understand that there's a difference between the work of Parliament and the work of the executive. Our work is to investigate, evaluate, make recommendations, and submit them to the Prime Minister. They're expected to come back with a Treasury memorandum to say, on this recommendation, we have sacked so-and-so. On this one, we have interdicted so-and-so. On this one, we have not accepted it for this reason. So they are to come back to us with a Treasury memorandum.
Yeah, but when they don't, and sometimes they really do not do, and yet a lot of time has been spent, money has been spent, Uganda are expectant. Do you feel a sense of frustration that the other arm of government has not done their part?
Yeah, but although I think that if you look at the order paper this week, they have about 5 items dealing with the value for money. And there are a number of memoranda which have come back from the government. Maybe not as fast or as regular as we want, but at least now they do it. Many years ago, they were not even, they would just keep quiet. So I think that things are picking up.
Well, they don't have a history or a precedent, the executive, of putting in order or, you know, into action the recommendations that sometimes are given.
No,
so I don't know where you're picking, where you're getting that hope that this time around things are turning around the corner.
I think that's a sweeping statement. If you remember, during the old debate, we made demands to enact a certain number of laws. They were done. What was outstanding is what they have done this week on joining the Transparency Initiative of Extractive Industries. That was one of the final recommendations of the House. So the laws were done, and now they have joined the initiative. For me, that's progress. Because I don't think you will say that within 1 month everything must have been completed. So a number of things have been done, and some are moving fast, some are moving slowly, but things are happening.
Things are happening. As somebody from the NRM party, and you are the Speaker of Parliament, Speaker for the whole Parliament, so, but sometimes people say that important decisions are taken out of Parliament and discussed in a caucus, and then because of the numbers, the NRM will always carry the day. Does it bother you for the other members of Parliament who think, well, even if we sit here, actually the decisions are taken somewhere else in a caucus, even though you belong to that party?
You know, as a country, we're going to go multi-party.
Yes.
Parties have caucuses. I can't stop the caucuses from sitting. The FDC caucus sits. The DP caucus sits. So what do you want me to do? We agreed to go multi-party. That's the price of going multi-party.
Yeah, that's the price of going multi-party, but I'm asking for your personal opinion on whether you think it could have been done other way without really caucus sitting anywhere it sits, and then it would come to Parliament, which you're going to preside over, and then a decision is taken outside the premises of Parliament, only to come here and then they raise their hand and vote over an issue, and probably you find that hard.
And I wish you could give me an example, because I can assure you that in that house, we have rejected, members of NRM have rejected matters which they think are not in the interest of the people. For instance, in the last Parliament, we obstructed the passing of the budget for 3 months until the government agreed to recruit doctors. Yet they had been called and told, support this. And we said, no, we want you to appoint the doctors. So that one happened. And many others. It's not as if everything that comes, there's a caucus. No.
That's the image that is projected outside.
That's your perception, but I'm telling you that there are things we do on our own. You know, I think people don't even listen to our debates. We have, for instance, this week, there was an attempt to move part of the budget, 2 budgets, to State House. We rejected it here in broad daylight. We rejected it as a house. So you can't say that what comes from the other side. No, no, no. I think it depends on the subject, and we have been steadfast in our work.
Steadfast. You currently have a probe that is going on, I think, on the COSASE committee. But at one time, you were insisting that the previous COSASE leadership continues, well, with the probe. And people are saying, well, if there is a continuation and a certain system how things work, really, you don't have to continue with one. You just have to change because it's time for change. Many people were wondering why you insisted not to change.
Maybe that arrangement could work in a Marwa party or a Marwa club. But this is an institution. It's a house of record. Have you ever heard of judges who are either promoted or transferred? Are you aware that they are asked to complete what they have started, and they are given 3 months? Please complete what you have started. Don't take on anything new. And you know, people cannot run Parliament from the street. I am the Speaker. I'm responsible for the output. The House delegated that work to the committee and want it completed. So I'll not say, oh, you know, the people on the street said you should change because it's time to change.
Honourable Speaker, it is members of Parliament, your own colleagues in the House, who are faulting the decision that you took, not necessarily on the streets of Kampala. You
know, if you disagree with the decision of the Speaker, you go to the floor, raise 40 members to object. Have you ever seen an objection to my decisions? Have you?
I only had the Honourable Kasevante who said that didn't want to be taken to a committee that you had suggested and wanted to continue with COSASE.
I am responsible for all the independents. There are others who have been taken where they don't want, but they have to serve because all the committees are committees of the House. No committee is superior. Yes.
I was just giving you an example of somebody who said, you know, Honourable Right Speaker, Madam Speaker, I need to continue here. So yes, sometimes that debate and conflict over issues can happen in the House. And the example I was giving you, Right Honourable Speaker, is people who disagree in the House. But moving on, with that issue being on the table, for example, the outcomes of these probes are usually well, not implemented, but you've said some have been, and there are some examples to show. You have constantly asked the executive to table electoral reforms, and to date they haven't. What happens if they don't at all?
I've given them up to the end of April. Let's wait for the end of April.
I'll take you back during the presidential elections petition, where the court gave them a certain time period to make sure that they bring the reforms, and they didn't. So that's one way to show you that they defied the judiciary.
Well, the directive was made to the government,
yes,
not to Parliament. So it's up to, you call a man called Otafire here and ask him why he has not tabled those reforms. For me, I'm just a facilitator. If they bring them, I work on them. But you should call him here and tell you why he has not responded. And the Attorney General, you call them here. they should be the ones to answer that question.
Yes, but you see now, as the other third of arm of government, and there are almost 300 plus 300 members of parliament or plus are NRM, chances are they are likely to be inclined to take the position of the executive, even though they are members of parliament, because that's the party that is in power.
On what? To take inclined to take the position of the government on what?
To be reluctant on the electoral reforms, after all.
How can members be reluctant when there is no bill? You will understand their reluctance or support if the bill is on the floor, when they're debating it. But you can't assume that, I think they all don't like the reforms. Have you taken a census of the members' opinions on that issue? Shouldn't make sweeping statements.
So you're giving them up to February?
April.
April.
Yes.
And then what?
Watch this space.
How do you assess the committee's handling of work in terms of finishing their work and, doing what is expected of them?
There was some slowness at some stage, but at the moment, the local government accounts committee is up to date on their accounts. The local public accounts committee, central government, is also up to date. The Human Rights Committee, I think, completed their reports. A number of the committees, legal and parliamentary, has processed about 6 bills in the last 4 months. A number of them have done quite a bit. There are those who are slow, but some have been quite good. Yesterday we had the bill from the Committee on Health. I think that's the 4th one in this session. So they are doing their work. They're doing the work.
And for those doing their work, that's okay. And for those who are a little bit slow, what could be the problem?
Oh, really, I wish you could ask them, because I don't serve in those committees. Because we provide the committee rooms, provide the clerks, provide the time. I think it's better if you ask them why they are slow.
So as their leader, when they are slow, do you get to make them conclude their work in time?
What I do is
doesn't that impact on what you do?
What I do is to count the number of days they are late and announce that this committee, you are late by 50 days on this issue, you are late by 100 days on this issue. And it has jolted them into work. That's why I'm saying that just this part of the session, we have done 15 pieces of legislation between October and January. And I hope that by May we shall have done like 20.
Honourable the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga. We're going to take a break. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest tonight is Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga. Earlier, we talked about the numbers, and sometimes they can affect the quality of debate. But do you also worry, or is it your concern, that the number actually in Parliament keeps growing, and maybe every election cycle, even this time around, as we go maybe 2021, it will even increase to about 500 people, and that's a burden, because the cost of administration, whatever that you have to pay them, salaries and all those things, will increase. Is that your concern?
I'm concerned, first, because the infrastructure is not available to accommodate all of them. For instance, when we were planning for the new chamber, we had expected that the number would grow to 500 in about the next 20 years. But as I speak now, I'm expecting more members before May, another 6 members or so. So it puts pressure on us. But it is the population which asks for these constituencies and new districts. So if the people could stop asking, then there would be no more creation of new constituencies or districts. So it's on one hand the need from the population, and if you create a municipality, there must be an MP. Create a district, there must be an MP. So it's a difficult situation. But maybe at some stage we will have to review the structure of the constituencies so that we cut down with the numbers.
So reviewing the structure, that means maybe increase, merging them? What would you suggest?
Merging.
But why you think people keep asking the powers that be to give them constituencies?
There are many reasons, and some constituencies are given for different reasons. For instance, there are some indigenous tribes in this country, which, if not given their small space, get submerged. We got the Ilk, which is a very small population, but they are distinct in their language, the tribe, and the cultures. And then some really distance. For instance, if you know the former Toro, you know, for some councillors to travel from, I think, Chivale to go to Fort Portal, it will take them 2 days to go to the district council. You know, so you look at that, it's so big, the distances, how do people get served and so on. So it's a combination. There's no one answer to all of them.
And when we have created those constituencies and the districts, do you think there has been value to the people, those who have asked for them?
I think let me talk about representation. But for instance, if you create a municipality, they get their own hospital, they get their own administration, they get their own seed secondary schools. So there are things that one is entitled to by virtue of creation. For instance, they are also entitled to, a county is entitled to the health center for. So there are some outputs out of the creation of those administrative units.
But you have since started building a new chamber, and what is the capacity, and do you think that is the solution to the issue of numbers? Or perhaps, like, if the idea you are thinking that moving on in future, the structure could be changed and maybe the number reduced, but would we stay with such a huge structure that can only accommodate a quarter, can only be filled to a quarter?
No, what do we do? I have now a chamber where if we are all there,
you can't fit.
People have to stand. If we are all there, you can't even walk in the chamber. So those are already there. I think we should finish it because it's a national facility. We should complete it, use it. If the time comes to make it smaller, make the number smaller, we'll make the internal adjustments.
The budget process now ongoing, and the budget framework paper is out. I just want to go through some of a few areas, I think, which of concern maybe health and agriculture, because we're largely an agricultural country. Quite a number of people would suggest that more money should be put in agriculture, maybe towards the Maputo declaration of about 10%. What would you do as Parliament to allocate more resources to the area of agriculture? Because many people are involved. I can imagine the people in Kamuli and the people in Kenya, where I come from, are also engaged more in agriculture and they want money there.
It's a debate we've had for a long time, and the recommendation has been consistent in all our reports, both on agriculture, on health. But I told the members that at the next stage, they should come out boldly, especially on the issue of health. We are demanding for provision of ambulances, motor ambulances, and also the water ambulances for the areas that are in the islands. So I'm waiting for them to make those proposals when the final report of the budget framework paper comes back. We have also told them to insist on increasing the actual budget. So I'm waiting to see what they do. But it's a matter of grave concern. If you read all our reports, it's about stepping up the funding for agriculture, funding for health.
That has been your concern, and is captured in your reports.
Yes.
But ultimately, they have increased a little bit, but not to the levels that you have asked for them to do. What next can be done? Because for the last 10 years, you've just been almost at the same level.
Now, what happens when you tell the Minister of Finance that I need 100,000 shillings? And he says, no, I only have 40. This is all I have. I don't have the 60. What do you do?
You question maybe the other whether the priorities are right or not.
I think that's why I'm saying that we have said we want now a provision for ambulances starting this year, for all the health center force, and more money for agriculture. So wait until we take the final action in May.
Would you suggest to maybe agriculture to come like number 2, number 3, because now the number 1 issue is infrastructure development, maybe education, and in that order, would you, moving forward, suggest now the priorities of government should be different?
For me, the priorities, the money-making ministry, I think tourism should be high up, because if it is handled well, it really produces a lot of money. Agriculture, but of course, we also have to address the social side, health and education. The other day I was complaining, I had these friends of mine from Sebei and Karamoja, and they're telling me about sub-counties that actually don't have schools. So I've told our committee to go and assess the situation, and we come and make proposals to address those areas. So the social side must be balanced, and also the money-making ministries should also be handled.
Well, so money-making ministries like what? Where
tourism. I've told you about tourism.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
That's one area. Unfortunately, they have put only I think the last time I checked, $1.5 million to market Uganda outside in Europe and the United States, and where the potential tourist money would come from. Probably they can increase on the areas of marketing. Is that what you're suggesting? Money for marketing?
I think they should just support our missions through the marketing, because the missionaries are there, and maybe open more consulates in the places where we... I don't believe that thing of that company. I don't believe they are marketing. Actually, I told the Minister of Tourism that I wanted him to design a form to be put on the planes to ask, how did you know about Uganda? Was it through the company? Was it through friends? Was it just internet? So that maybe after a year we assess, how did this really come? Because that company has marketed, or it was for other reasons. I don't know whether I've told them twice. I actually put in writing. I said, I want to design this form, hand it over to the airlines. For me, that would be a way of assessing whether those chaps are doing anything.
But if we increased the numbers of people visiting Uganda from one, I'm told now it's 1-point-something million, if we increased it to about 2 or 3, do we have the capacity to handle it?
Oh my God, of course we have. We have hotels. We
don't have the number of rooms to handle so many.
No. We have many, many hotels in this country. The whole hotel industry has grown. We have many, many, many hotels. We have a lot of capacity. You know, there are, for instance, the other day I was in Malta. Malta is a small country. There are less than 1 million people, but the tourists are like 3 times more. And they manage. Small hotels here, small things there. No, we can manage.
Because, Right Honourable Speaker, Malta, I suppose, has gone in massively into the area of tourism, and that's their niche, so they have put all their focus on the same, and so their tourism industry is quite developed, isn't it?
Well, we could do that. We could do that as well. That's why I said, for me, that's the priority.
Do you think whenever we have our own politics on the streets of Kampala, maybe there's a riot here, there's police beating up people there, that alone, because I can imagine a tourist who is booking to come to Uganda, when he sees those flashes, and probably that can also be a problem for us. Yes,
I'm in the tourism industry, and I know that when there's been skirmishes here, there's been a drop in the number of visitors coming. I've got colleagues who have shared information, and they've told me they've had cancellations. Yes, it has an impact.
Okay, you picked out the tourism industry as one of those areas that maybe money should be put, and of course agriculture, but the government has put more money in infrastructure development, and they have made a case for that, and I think that is important. But there are those who suggest that when you visit different parts of Uganda, for example, you may find the roads are not transporting any goods at all, that we're not producing. So what do we need to do so that this country can produce?
I think it's not that they're not producing. I think it's getting the right market information, knowing where to go. I think we need to improve on information to our farmers. and also support them to get to the markets and ensure that they are protected. For instance, despite the problems in South Sudan, you know, they even when they were chased, they went back after 2 months, and yet they are working in a situation of risk and uncertainty. So I think we need to do more to assist in marketing, quality control. I think those are important areas.
Yeah, talking about quality control, there's one time when the Ugandan farmers decided to go into agricultural produce of maize, for example, but because of lack of quality control and after harvest handling, most of our maize we lost maize because of aflatoxins and things like this, because we don't have storage capacity, but also we don't have extension workers to help. So is there anything that Parliament can do so that we can have robust extension services? Because extension service work can also determine the quality of our produce.
Last financial year, we approved money to recruit extension workers for all the sub-counties of Uganda. I need to check whether they're there, but we did approve money, and the minister, I think, had told us that they've recruited. But we'll have to cross-check, but we did our part and facilitated the money.
And this time around, are we likely to see putting money for water for irrigation, massive, serious irrigation, and not just this simple innovations, which could be good but may not be a game changer?
No, irrigation is important, especially to ensure that we are producing throughout the year. So there are some schemes that are going to come into operation, and I think once that is done, the productivity will improve. If the roads are good, people transport their goods.
One wonders why, for a country that has almost 50% of East Africa's arable land, we haven't done agriculture so well and Parliament allocated money and the ministry did its job so that it becomes our niche. We do it so well because of everything in our favor in terms of the environment and the rain and the fertility of the soils, so that if we get there, the rest of Africa can never compete.
I think we need to identify a niche product and facilitate its production by organizing contract farmers, support them to produce the right quality and the quantity. Because if you are going to be big in the export industry, you must be able to meet the targets first of all, meet the quantum, and meet the timelines. You know, you can't tell those that, you know, yesterday the road was bad, I could not deliver. So we need to, if we identify the niche crop, organize the farmers, and facilitate them.
Do you hold the view that that area of agriculture is an area that could change Uganda's fortunes if we seriously put interest in it?
Yes, in fact, I'm doing it. I'm already doing it in Busoga. I'm revitalizing the castle stock farm to become a center of breeding of quality breeds for the region, but also the whole country, and also to train farmers in agriculture, in aquaculture, in poultry, etc. So for me, I've already started. And also we shall do other work on chige for other crops. And if it's good, we can replicate it elsewhere.
Madam Speaker, when you start it and you see it is working, for the other colleagues in the government, for example, in the executive, if they are reluctant to do what you think is working, they just don't get it, or maybe they just don't want it?
I think some areas lack of focus. You know, from the government, there's a big chain of bureaucracy. So somewhere along the way, either there is a poor supervision or people are just not interested. There's a big chain of bureaucracy.
And still on that area, so there have been interventions, Operation Wealth Creation. There have been targets. For example, in 2020, they think they can move from 4 million bags of 4 million bags of coffee to 20 million bags of coffee, even though we're just 1 year towards that. Do you think some of these ambitions are backed up by serious research work, and we are likely to get those targets?
I think the Ministry of Agriculture would be the better position to answer that question. Yeah. call the Minister of Agriculture and ask him.
Yeah, why I'm asking Right Honourable Speaker is also because where you sit, especially when you release money for Operation Wealth Creation and all this, and there are some targets that they need to get, and sometimes you have to come back and ask, have you done ABCD? How far are you moving? Because they also project to you that this is what you want to cover, and I suppose you have to look into what they're doing, even though that's not your ministry, or that's a Ministry of Agriculture is concerned.
No, we appropriate money, but when our oversight comes a bit later. So we are going to see maybe at the end of this financial year what has happened.
Okay, I mean, maybe lastly in that area, we have seen in some cases production going low, slowing down. I'll give you an example of cotton. Probably in the 70s or 60s, we could have produced more cotton with fewer people than we are doing now. What brings that retardation? Yet we seem to have, we are supposed to have advanced in technology. We have more people, and we are producing less.
No, but cotton is a labor-intensive crop. Actually, I think the only area I've seen is Kasese. They're very, very big on cotton. They are still into cotton quite massively. I think for me, it's the whole chain, because the farmers used to have the cooperative societies where they sell and then link to the ginaries and so on. So I think there's been a breakdown on that one, and people I think got tired. That's why they changed to other crops. But I think we would need to mechanize more, because if you are going to pick cotton by hand, 5 square miles of cotton and you are picking it by hand, I think we need to mechanize.
Okay. And in the area of health, Right Honourable Speaker, of course also the Abuja Declaration, Uganda, I think, saying that where we have to put a certain amount of percentage, 15%. 15, that's quite huge. And 15.
Well, those gentlemen sat there in Abuja themselves and agreed. The presidents are the ones who sat and agreed on that. Yes. But
15 is just colossal sums of money if they were to put. However, they haven't. I think they're hovering up between 8 or something percent. And I want to look specifically in the areas of maternal health, for example, because we live with statistics that tell us almost every day 16 or 17 or 19 women die due to pregnancy-related complications. What can we do to reduce that number, which may look like a statistics, but somewhere today somebody is either mourning the loss of a mother, a sister, an auntie, or something like that. So that is cut down, because we really look bad.
First, to ensure that there are facilities, not just facilities, but they should be equipped. They should also have the necessary personnel. And then, of course, the ambulances to move people for referral where necessary. So it's important to ensure that those facilities are there, and not like one big one in Kampala, and there are no others. If there were others, maybe in the regions with good facilities, they would also help. But for now, Kampala is the main place where everybody goes for specialist treatment. But with time, I think if we had regional centers and equipped them, put the necessary staff, paid them well, things would improve.
I have been to one of hospitals 2 years ago, as near as Kawolo here, and I could see doctors trying to improvise. For example, I saw a charcoal stove just at the entrance of an operating theater, because the autoclaving machines died a long time ago, so they have to use a charcoal stove. You know, well, I'm grateful to the Ugandan medical workers, because even when they don't have the facilities, somehow they improvise. But really, the health workers deserve better.
I think that's what I've said. That we get the right, improve the infrastructure, put the equipment, put the staff, and pay them well. That's what I've said.
You know, but consistently, persistently, they haven't looked into the kind of challenges they go through, and they haven't facilitated them well. So, yes, you have raised that concern. And yes, Parliament is supposed to go and do the oversight role, and sometimes nothing moves. Do you, as a speaker, sometimes get the sense of frustration in that area?
You know, the wheels do not turn as quickly as one wants, But we have had some successful areas. For instance, this specialized hospital, it was something we created as a roadmap in the 7th Parliament. And they demanded that money be found to establish a specialized hospital for women and children. So for me, that's a success. It took time, but it is there. Maybe not very accessible for now, but I think with time, adjustments can be made. And if we are also able to...
You mean very accessible in terms because of the money?
The cost, yes.
The cost.
Yes, yeah. But there's been some changes, but we still need to do more. That one I must accept.
Right, Honorable Speaker, even when you talk about the issue of money, even the corporate Ugandan in Kampala may not be able to afford. So you would wonder who, quite a few people can afford those sums of money.
Ask the Minister of Health. I can't answer that question.
Right, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, the Speaker of Parliament. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Kamara. My guest tonight is the Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, you have really projected a robust image of yourself, but also the Parliament of Uganda, especially when you represent us outside this country in different forums, and you are a leader of the parliamentary union. But sometimes you get challenges, especially when we talk about issues of rights. We look at them differently here, and the other countries look at them differently. How problematic is it for you to convince your fellow members of parliament and speakers around the world about issues of minority rights?
Now, you know, in those meetings, you find what we call the North has a different perspective. The Arabs and Asians and the Africans have different perspective. So you always have to, first you have to make sure that you are in all the meetings, or you deploy in all the meetings where decisions can be taken, so that you alert each other. And if you need to be energized to come and make a presentation, we arrange for it. But it's a full-time job, just keeping track of what people are trying to put into our resolutions without our consent. So it's really a full-time job, I can assure you. So
is there some kind of a lot of lobbying and influence peddling, using money and sometimes to do anything they can so that they can have their decisions taken probably to those in the northern hemisphere as compared to us in the southern?
Yes, yes. On occasions they have tried to lobby members to support them by giving them money. They promise them support in the campaigns. But you have to be steadfast to your beliefs. So it's a constant battle, as I can assure you. It's a constant battle.
A constant battle, but also you're dealing with countries that are rich and powerful and sometimes are helping in the budget process for our countries. It must be a tough balancing act for you. Yeah,
but the things they want should not be a condition for supporting us. No, it shouldn't. And even if we are small countries, we have our beliefs, we have our values, so there should be a balance somewhere. You know, like the Chinese, they're your friends, but they don't talk about other things. They leave you. You just do what is on the table. So I think it's important for our friends to know that we have things for which we stand.
You have a big conference coming this year.
For where?
I thought you have
the Commonwealth.
Yeah, Commonwealth conference that you'll be hosting.
Yes, we do, and we have carefully chosen the subjects to be discussed. And we shall be there to check what is being put in the resolutions. So, yes, they understand our position, but they have agreed to come. Yes.
And when you talk about the subjects to discuss, we would want to know probably what is it that in this Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference coming to Kampala, what major issues are likely to be discussed in Kampala? Actually,
I'm going to meet the Secretary General. That's what we are going to discuss. So I cannot talk about the subjects until he's waiting in my office, actually. After we've met, then maybe after today we can publish the proposals.
Have these conferences of this nature been impactful to nations like ours before?
Yes, for instance, in the 2012, we held the 126th Interparliamentary Union Conference here for the first time. It was part of our Golden Jubilee celebrations. And it made such a big impact that a number of the guests who came that time now come for the holidays. Now they come with their children. So they remember Uganda, they still want to come to Uganda. So it gives us visibility. And now this one is the Commonwealth. We last had it here in 1967. So all these years, the Commonwealth International did not come to Uganda. So for us, it's a big opportunity, again, to market our country, more people to know about us, and so on.
So for those who are in the business, they could make money out of this?
Yes, what I've instructed our committee is that whatever we require, which is produced here, we should buy locally. The things we cannot produce, we can get from outside. But I've told them to support the local industrialists here.
I'm asking that because in 2007, when we had the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, after that we went into issues of trying to say that money was misused and all that. So I suppose right now, for such a big conference that may be bringing in quite thousands of people, this time around maybe you have the right investment, and we're also going to have a good return on the money we're going to put it, and there won't be issues of misuse.
I want you to judge me on my performance in the IPU. We had a clean...
Of 2012?
Yes, we had a clean report from the Auditor General. So you judge me on that one. We're able to deliver that at that time. We'll deliver a better one this time.
So what is the potency of the interparliamentary union in the world?
The Interparliamentary Union is the union of all the parliaments of the world.
Yes.
So it's a bit bigger than the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is of the Commonwealth countries, but the Interparliamentary Union is of the 180 countries. So we meet twice in a year in Geneva or in other places to discuss matters of interest to all of us, matters of interest to some of the members, for instance, issues of the Middle East, and so on and so forth.
But after discussing those recommendations, can these countries say the recommendations of the IPU, or even the smaller one, the Commonwealth, at the end of the day, be followed up and acted upon?
Well, some of the recommendations are to the governments, others to the parliaments. So the ones to the government, we send them to the government. The ones which belong to parliament, we do them at parliament. So yes, we learn from each other and improve in our operations. A number of the improvements we've done are because we have been meeting and comparing notes and changing things, adjusting here and so on.
Okay, so let's look for the one that is near here, which is in the East African region, the East African Legislative Assembly and the Ugandan Parliament. How do you harmonize your work? Because I know, for example, in this region, we are supposed to have by now, in the earlier projection, we should have been having maybe a monetary union and maybe be in a federation. But although things have not happened, and we're behind schedule in terms of the earlier commitments that were made.
Well, the National Assembly does not really have much to do with the work of the IALA. They are expected to report to us, but it's not very satisfactory. But most of the work is really with the Council of Ministers and the Summit of the Heads of State. So we have no, unless, for instance, a treaty is brought to the House, then we can discuss it. If the draft protocol on the monetary union is brought, then we can discuss it. But otherwise, we have no way of driving the agenda of the South African Committee from the National Assembly here.
But you know, as a leader and who has also been in Parliament for quite some time, that there were projections, there were targets that by 2012 or 21 we should be having ABCD. I think the only thing that we've achieved is the customs union and maybe the common market, but the monetary union and then the biggest one, the political federation, has not happened. Do you think that would happen soon?
I don't know.
Because there seems to be some energy that has come up again in terms of trying to speed it up.
You know, you are dealing with 6 countries. And if you are going to move, you have to move together. You make sure everybody is comfortable, everybody is ready. So if there were if we're still maybe the 3 countries as we started, maybe it would have been easier. But you have to deal with 6 countries now. So we'll just watch them because we don't have the capacity to drive the agenda. It is driven by the summit and the Council of Ministers.
Okay, you're one of the longest serving MPs. When, with all respect, hope to retire?
When are you leaving this office yourself?
I'm not seeking...
The issue of maritime, it is between me and my voters. They are the ones I discuss with. What should we do? They are the ones who will tell me. Because I'm elected, you know? I'm elected. Yeah.
So are you likely to go back to Kamuli and ask for their mandate?
But I didn't come here for that. You wanted to know about Parliament?
Yes, I'm saying, Right Honourable Speaker...
I don't, I don't like the way you smuggle things. You send me a set of questions. Actually, you've moved away from them, all of them. Now you're going to...
No. Sometimes when I ask a question, Right Honourable Speaker...
I have refused to discuss that. I refuse to discuss that with anybody. It's not your business. It's the business of me and my voters.
The talk is a conversation, Honourable Right Speaker. Even though I have a set of questions, I can't keep looking there, yet I also have to look to hear you so that we can have a conversation. We went into...
No, I do not want to deal with that. That's not why I came here. You asked me to come to talk about Parliament, the work of Parliament. That's what I've done. That's what I agreed to do.
Okay. Well, I've asked and we'll have your response. You don't want to talk about it, which is a good thing. And you don't want to talk about that. Perhaps that is captured. We have the Electoral Commission that has moved from 500 and something 30 billion. They are now asking for almost 830 billion. And they're coming as they give us their roadmap. And I'm sure they'll be coming to Parliament to ask for that money to be allocated, which is quite colossal sums of money. Do you think that money is justified?
Well, the Constitution requires us to conduct free, regular elections every 5 years. So the EC has got to conduct those elections. I don't know whether it is a right amount or not, but they have a job which was given under the Constitution. Yes.
Okay. What's going to be your concluding remark on the show tonight?
To wish the listeners a Happy New Year and to assure them that we shall continue to do the things that are in the interest of the people. Madam Speaker, Right Honourable Rebecca Kadaga, thank you very much for having given us your time to discuss some of these important issues. We appreciate your insights on the matter. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much for having me. And God bless Uganda.